Where are you, in Florida?
Yeah.
Enjoy.
How you doing?
Good, great.
Miss everybody.
Huh?
I miss everybody.
It's hard when everybody's in different places.
I know, but thank God for this.
Yeah, thank God for this, right? Next week, we're back here in the synagogue. And the week after, I'm going to Zoom from Jerusalem.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Wow, we're gonna all get to Jerusalem, thank God.
Uh,
Nice.
By the way, I'm waiting on you guys for the dates. That's it. I put it out there. When? Ready. Hi, Sharon. How are you? All right.
All right. Okay, we have to see
I
when.
already prepared what I want to ask Vivian to teach.
Nice.
So we'll
When
have
is
it-
when is Passover?
I don't know.
Mid-April? Wait, we
I'm not sure.
Fourth.
It's up to them. Okay.
February in the brutal cold. No, it's very cold there. We did that. Remember, we did one trip in February.
Yes. Oh, yes, you did. I didn't go. Yes.
Okay, let's get started. Okay. All righty. Okay, good to see you all. Sally, hi, how are you? Okay. So we're going to recap very quickly. We're going to learn,
April 5th, honey.
huh?
April 5th,
Okay.
Passover.
right.
Okay,
We're
great.
going to recap quickly some of the key klalim, the principles that we've been talking about and learning, because you can apply them to all areas of halakha, all areas of Judaism. And then we're going to move to some other specific things, learn some more principles. And then we're going to do one chapter, one Mishnah, maybe a second one in Pirkei Avot. So we're going to cover some ground. Okay. So just to recap quickly, when do we say a beracha? We have a beracha and a mitzvah. When do we say the beracha? Before. Excellent.
Or
What would be a case when we can't say the beracha before?
the Tilat Yadayim.
Good day. All right. The Tilat Yadayim in the morning.
Wait,
Excellent.
one more question. How about the mikveh?
How about the mikveh? Yeah. When do you say the berachot?
When you're in it.
Huh? When you're in it?
But lately-
Before you dunk.
Or-
I think.
Before you do it before.
We used to do it in. We used to
Uh-huh.
do it in it.
You
yeah.
do it before, you do it in. They're saying over here they used to do it when they were in.
I'm not.
Have dunk, then we say beracha, then the rest of the dunks.
So you
Oh, you
dunk.
dunk once. You're right. You dunk
Very
once.
good.
I
So
forgot.
that would be the part, if you can't say the beracha before, so we say it in the process, right? Over la'asiyatan. Excellent, in process. Good. What do we call hidur mitzvah? What is hidur mitzvah?
When you beautify it.
When beautify it. Great. What is the typical criteria for beautifying a mitzvah? Typical criteria, Shelley, let's go.
Exposing it, exposing it, exposing it.
Yeah, well, beautifying the mitzvah, how far do we typically have to go to beautify the mitzvah? An etrog costs $100. We want to beautify the mitzvah of an etrog. How far do we go?
20%?
30%, 30% up. So you go up to $130 plus minus. For our purposes, it's 30%, right? So it's 30% is the hidur mitzvah, the beautification of the mitzvah. Good. What is the beautification of the mitzvah criteria on Hanukah vis-a-vis the nerot Hanukah, the candles of Hanukah? What?
Oil?
Huh?
Oil?
No, but how do we beautify? Oh, we beautify with oil. Well,
Right,
really,
okay, one
yeah,
candle.
we beautify with oil. Good. But what is the multiple? What is the add-on? Right, good. Up to what level? Is it 30% higher?
800.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Hanukkah, we go up 800%. Why? Because you have to light one candle on the last night, right? Only one each night is my chiyuv, only one candle. By the last night, I already have 8 times, or at least you want to say 700% more than I need, not 800%, right? Because I have 8 candles. So the hidur mitzvah on Hanukkah, the beautification of mitzvah on Hanukkah is exemplary. It's unique. There's nothing else like it. Nothing. Good? So, good? Now,
But the 10% charity that you have to give, you're not allowed to give more than.
okay, a quick side question, Sharon's question, 10% charity. So 10% charity is considered the absolute minimum. Some people would even call that ayin ra'ah, not a nice level. So it's the absolute minimum. We should strive to do more than that. But we have a maximum of 20%. Or we have a max of 20%. Now, the question becomes, what if a person is on a certain level? But for 99% of the people, the maximum is 20%. Why is that? We hold that the maximum is 20% in giving charity because people's fortunes vary. You know, a person can be doing super well and then not doing so well. And the concern is that if a person gives more than 20%, he or she may come to resent that during a more difficult time. So based on knowing the human being, the rabbis made the guidepost, hi Carol, that the minimum is 10, but we should try our best to do more than 10. The maximum is 20, we shouldn't get to 20. And not because we shouldn't be generous, but because human beings are human beings and there are ups and downs in everybody's life. And if and when that down period comes, we don't want to resent what we did. So the rabbis reasoned that more than 20% would cause resentment of the person within himself or herself for their charitable act.
Oh, I lost you, Ricky.
We all did.
Oh, Diane, I could see you, by the way.
See you too. No, I can't see you, actually.
So
No.
you're on,
I have the video on, but
you want to be on, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
See everybody. What's
So what
going-
happened?
I don't know.
We lost him.
Hold on, wait. I think we lost him. He's gonna come on now.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
went wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No one's only, let's see,
Something's wrong.
Michelle's,
It started out bad because when I went on earlier, he didn't know I was on and I was on and then
yeah.
Somehow I became the host.
Ricky is the host now. Okay, he's coming on. There he is. Okay, got it.
Sorry, I lost you for a second. The Zoom
Oh,
on, but we're back. Sorry about that.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good.
So the Hidur mitzvah, the beautification of the mitzvah, we said, blows off all the limitations in terms of this holiday, right? Why does it blow off all the limitations? Why does it exceed all the limitations? Because we have another principle in halakha and life, which is Pirsumei Nisa, which is to publicize a miracle. Okay, now let's talk about this a little bit. When we have a formula in life, it's a very important formula. The formula goes like this, and it's very relevant within Hanukah, but it's even more relevant to our lives in general. When someone is moser nefesh, meaning when someone sticks his or her neck out to grow, to change, to do something that's very hard to do. Okay, we live in a certain way. We live based on certain parameters in our lives, right? Those parameters could be subtle, they could be overt, right? This is life, this is what you do, this is how we live, right? We've all heard those things all the time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sets up a formula and he says, there's a Hine principle. The Hine means an exceptional effort principle, which means if a person makes an exceptional effort to benefit his or her life or somebody else's life, an exceptional effort, right, is sacrificing, is moser nefesh, is attempting to break through. HaKadosh Baruch Hu meets that effort. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will meet that effort. Good? So we're incentivized, we're incentivized to move beyond our comfort zones, to reach beyond, to attempt to make changes, to build. And when we do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you press the limits, I will meet you. That's his commitment, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Vivian teaches us whenever we see the word hineh, God's involved in it.
Beautiful, exactly, perfect, perfect. Whenever you see the word Hineh, it means HaKadosh Baruch Hu is stepping back into a system, the laws of nature, which typically run the world. Of course, he's involved in everything. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you ever see the word Hineh, alas, when it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it means that things would have followed along a certain course, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu either puts himself back in or is drawn back in by our actions. Okay, there are certain times, for example, in the story of the story of Yosef HaSadik and his brothers, that there's one Hineh when Yosef offers himself up to his father to go seek out his brothers. There's one that shows you him stepping up, where you have a Hineh with God, it shows God stepping in. Where you have a Hineh or Hineni with man or a lady, it's them stepping up, right? And from that, this whole incredible process opens up. This whole remarkable process.
And then all of a sudden it said hineh.
All right, you had the Hineh there as well. Very good. Whenever you see a Hineh from God, it means God is stepping in overtly into something, that he's breaking the course of things in order to make things happen that wouldn't have otherwise happened. Whenever you see Hineh or Hineni on a human being side, it means they're doing the same thing. They're stepping up, they're stepping beyond. They're stepping up, they're stepping beyond in order to make something happen. So in the Chumash, whenever you're reading the Chumash, whenever you see the term Hineh, vis-a-vis HaKadosh Baruch Hu, fasten your seatbelt and know that extraordinary efforts are about to happen. When you see the term Hineh in terms of a person, the same thing. Now, when a person has a Hineni or a Hineh effort, right? What does he do? He's Moser Nefesh. He's taking a risk. That's not easy, right? He wants to change. He wants to build. He wants to move beyond something, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be dragged into that process, dragged in quotation, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it, will be moved into that process, engage the process, right? Embrace the process. Now, when that happens on a private level, it's a private miracle. Why is it a miracle? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is breaking the laws of nature to engage. That's a miracle. A miracle is that A plus B yields C, but when A plus B yields J, it means HaKadosh Baruch Hu broke the laws of nature and inserted himself. When will he do it? Sometimes of his own volition, sometimes because we prompted him. Okay, now when somebody prompts HaKadosh Baruch Hu and brings him in, that's called a nes. It's a miracle. It's separate from what would typically go on in life. Now, the person then has an opportunity, should he choose, to be mefasem the nes, right? To proclaim, to make that miracle known. He or she can decide to do it or not. Sometimes we make seudot toda'ah and these kinds of things where we make a proclamation about something that happened where there was X and God inserted himself remarkably to create Y. Cool? Good. Now, when you have mesirut nefesh or sacrifice on behalf of many people, when you have it on behalf of many people, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is absolutely drawn in because they're sacrificing to build their lives, to build generally, what are we sacrificing for? Sacrificing for Torah, we're sacrificing for love, for shalom, for chesed, we're sacrificing, right? For the things we care about, right? So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees a group of people sacrificing, then he'll break the laws of nature in order to make something happen. And then we have an absolute obligation to publicize this miracle throughout in public. And in our case, in terms of Hanukah, where did the Hanukah thing start? It didn't start with Matityahu and his sons. Hanukah started with the poor people and the women. That's who did it. That's who started it. Yehudit finishes it, and they started it. It didn't start in the halls of royalty and in the halls of the wealthy and powerful. It absolutely did not. It was the poor people who said, we can't live like this. Our Judaism is being taken from us. They're taking over the Beit HaMikdash. We can't learn. We can't this. They're taking the brides. The poor people stood up, and then the ladies stood up, and then the Maccabees came into the play. So when you see something like that happen, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu then is drawn in based on the sacrifice of people, and he'll make major miracles happen, like happened in our case. Okay, so far? Good. Now, when those major miracles happen, we now have an obligation to build the people around us based on those miracles. Okay, I want you to hold all the steps and stop me if we're missing any steps here. People made sacrifices, a group of people, not one. Therefore, God makes public miracles. Therefore, very important, I have an obligation to let the world know about those public miracles. That's called Pirsumei Nisa, right? Publicizing the miracle. Yeah? Good? All good so far? Okay. Now, if I'm obligated to publicize the miracle to a great extent, then the beautification of the miracle gets multiplied umpteen times. Because the more I publicize, the more I bring Kiddush Hashem, a sanctity of God's name, the more I build people. So the more people know, the more I inspire them, right? So if I have 2 candles, I'm going to inspire people. But if I have 8, I'm going to inspire more people. Now, we have other remarkable things. You with me so far? Okay, good. So the other rub that we just touched on, which is very important, is the absolute permanent responsibility of every Jewish person, regardless of where they are in their life, for everybody else. I have to care about everybody else. Is my neighbor growing in his Torah? Is my neighbor growing in his chesed? If not, I should be thinking about it. Am I building that person? If not, I got to be working it. I got to be thinking about it. That's my responsibility. Okay, that responsibility never goes away. It never goes away. By the way, that's why we have an absolute responsibility not to mislead somebody. If somebody sees somebody doing something that is not al pi halacha, not according to halacha, I'm going to mislead that person. I have a responsibility not to do that. What are you talking about? How many people should I worry about? Everybody. What do you mean? My brother's keeper? Oh yeah. 1,000,000%. Okay, there are parameters, there are boundaries, because we live in a practical world where everything doesn't work exactly as we'd like it to. But, and we learn those boundaries in the areas of Shabbat in particular and so on. But for our purposes right here in terms of Hanukah, we have sacrifice, Mesirut Nefesh, that yields a collective miracle, that yields the obligation to collectively inspire people by publicizing that miracle. Cool? Good? Good. That's our headline. That's the introduction. You okay with that? She loves my introduction.
I have a question.
Always giving long introductions. Could be dinner time or whatever, doesn't matter. Huh?
Can I
Yeah,
ask?
of course.
So you're saying that you have an obligation and a responsibility to teach the person next door and everything. How does it come across as teaching as opposed to criticizing? That's the challenge that I'm at.
It's how you do it. It's how you do it. It's a very important question, Michelle. And that's why we have to think long and hard. And we have to be very careful and very sensitive and very particular and personalized in how we do things. You're right. We have to be very careful. But being very careful doesn't mean we don't do it. Some people say because they have to be very careful, I can't figure it out. You have to figure it out. And by the way, the halacha is that if you can't figure it out, you got to do your very best to find somebody else who could do it.
Doesn't Torah tell us how to do it?
Yeah. We have a Torah obligation to do it. But if for some reason we can't, we don't have the words, we don't have the relationship, find somebody else to do it. But you're right, you have to be very careful, you have to be at the right place, in the right mindset, and so on. Good. Now that we have that basis, we understand why Hanukah, which was such a spectacular miracle, right? We have to light as many candles as possible, and we do. Okay, and we have to light them at the opportune time. Fine. Now, we have some other fascinating halachot that come from this. For example, we light the Chanukiah in the synagogue in the afternoon, right? You guys aware of that? We light it in the synagogue in the afternoon. Now, is there any obligation to light the Hanukah candles in the synagogue, Shelley? No, zero. One second, what's the obligation? Ner ish ubeto, a person in and his home meaning his family, right? Person ubeto, the bayit means the family, right? So why are we lighting the candles in shul? Why are we lighting the candles in shul? Beautiful. To publicize what? What do you mean? You're going against the other halacha of the same holiday? Yes. You know why? Because if I light them in the shul, I'm going to inspire more people. I'm going to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu's greatness and the Mesirut Nefesh of man, the sacrifice of man, to more people. So in broad daylight, it's not dark yet. The stars didn't come out yet. 1 second. Didn't you tell me that halakha is to light when the stars come out? Yes. But 1 second, the men are in shul to pray mincha. They're not there when the stars come out. They're there before. When the stars come out, they can't pray mincha anymore. No. But listen, guys, because we have an obligation to build people. We have an obligation to lift people, to educate people about this extraordinary combination of God and man and what can happen. You have to light the candles in the shul in the middle of the day. Huh? Beautiful. Excellent. Right. Excellent. Yes.
Have a law or rule, law to seafood.
Baal Tosif. Yes, we do have that. We do.
Always forget that.
Right. No, we don't forget it. We don't forget it, but it's a great question. Sarah's asking the question, well, what about the halakha that we have that you can't add? So adding and delineating are two different things. For example, you can't add a fifth tzitzit. That you can't do, right? You can't add and say, you know what, you want to put 5 corners on a garment. But what we can do is figure out.
Why, that's the oraita?
That's the Doraita. Excellent. Beautiful. Perfect. That's the biblical. But what we can do is figure out how we maximize the halakha of tzitzit. So do we wrap it this way? Do we wrap it that way? That's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu sets out his platform. And then he gives us, through Moshe Rabbeinu Zikanim on down, he gives us the ability to work them through, to develop them, all within a framework, but to develop them. So yes, on the one hand, we say you can't add and you can't take away. On the other hand, we delineate and we detail. And sometimes the detailing is an addition, but it's not an addition up here, it's an addition down here. So we're okay with that. Okay, very good question. Okay. Huh? Okay, beautiful. Now listen to this. Incredible question. The rabbis asked that question. Well, what are you talking about? Okay, one second. I got it. We want to educate the people to light, right? We want to inspire the people to the miracle, right? So we're going to light the candles during the day in the synagogue. Yeah? But what about saying a beracha? You're saying God's name. What's the answer? Oh, yeah. Yes, beracha. We say it with beracha. Why? Work it. Work the same logic. Come on. Okay, very good. We'll talk about that in a minute, Vivian. Excellent. Hold on a minute. Beautiful. Why do we say it with a beracha in the synagogue? Huh? Let's do it this way. What if it was said without the beracha? What, Vivian? Go on. Speak it out.
It doesn't count.
Huh? Not everybody had a menorah. True. Excellent. So, but now let's say now everybody does. Yeah? Diane, you were saying something?
No,
Okay.
someone else.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I missed who was speaking.
Ellen was talking.
Ellen, you were saying something?
I said then it doesn't count.
It doesn't count if you say it without a beracha?
I don't know. I'm asking.
You're on the right track. It counts less. Now, if I want to proclaim God's greatness and I proclaim it with a beracha, it's infinitely more powerful. We're saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was in this, that he commanded us to do this. We bring another awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this process. So what's the rabbi's reasoning? That's right, you can. That's right. Because we don't, you're beautiful, Grace. Because we don't. Yeah. Oh, in the shul? I don't have to. No, in the shul, I don't have to. Because in the shul, I'm looking for a pop. I'm looking for a pop. I'm looking for an inspiration. So the question is, how can I inspire people the most? And the rabbi's reason that because the inspiration, and in this case, what is the Ord all about? It's about Yeda. It's about learning. It's about growing through Torah. That's the month of Kislev. That's the holiday of Hanukah. That's what we're celebrating, right? We're celebrating the ability to learn. We're celebrating the oral Torah. That's what we're celebrating. That's what was saved in Hanukah. Everything else came with it. But what was saved in Hanukah was the ability, like you guys are asking the questions you're asking. This was gone, God forbid, was gone. They were destroying it. Our enemies were destroying it. The great rabbis who were teaching it, who we needed for it, were being taken away from us, right? So the greatest victory of Hanukah is this, right? It's the light, it's the learning and so on. That's what we're celebrating. So what do? We go so far as to say that I'm going to say God's name in a beracha, which to your point, Grace, is not absolutely needed. It's not.
Is it levatava?
No, that's exactly the point. The rabbis decided when we say a beracha, the rabbis decided what's considered the publication of a miracle, and therefore we have competing values, which is the most exciting part of halakha, because God willing, we have tons of them, and that's where you break your head and you come up with the sensibilities that define us. What defines us? What defines us is if I could inspire more people to learn and to grow as a result of saying the beracha, you know what? I am sanctifying God's name. I'm not risking the opposite.
Well, isn't it?
I make that decision, or any of us, and that's why we have thousands of years of the greatest thinkers, and we look at their words competing and different opinions and so on, and we establish a direction. Yeah.
So in school, when they're teaching the children how to pray, they do say Shem Hashem out loud because it's a point of teaching. And almost the same thing in the shul when you're saying the beracha, it's high. We're making sure that everybody in this room is
That's right.
prepared and knows what they're supposed to be doing. It's a lesson.
It's exactly correct. It's exactly the same thing. There are other laws that I'm not going to tell you today, you would blow your minds in terms of what we do to inspire another person and teach another person. But we'll do that another time, God willing. But let's go a little bit further. Let's say, so now, okay, we're going to light at 4 p.m, right, Rochelle? Yeah, oh yeah.
For boys, you put one candle or two?
Two, the next day.
The next day.
Yeah, okay, no, it gets better, gets better, all right, gets better.
Still says the beracha again.
Excellent, yes. The person who made the beracha, we typically send somebody up who would probably not be making the beracha in his house, maybe a teenager or this, that, or somebody living by somebody else, but to your point, the halacha is that the person who said the beracha in shul goes home and says it at home. Awesome, mind blower. It gets better. Yeah. How does it get better? What if we don't have a minyan? Listen to this. We don't have a minyan, but we see people starting to trickle in. Now, we generally say, Sharon, you with me? We generally say that we make a proclamation of something great with a minimum of minyan, of 10 men, right? We don't have a minyan, but we have 10 men on their way. We know every day we get one. Should we do it or not?
Yes.
Go for it, Rochelle. Come on. Should we do it or not? Come on. Huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, before the 10 men come. Oh, wait, it gets better. It gets a little better. Right, are we good? Okay, so you're on the why wouldn't you side? Beautiful. No, that's great. No, but that's how it comes to be. That's how it comes to be. Yeah. So we say that because I'm building up to the minyan. Now, I don't want these men to walk in and not see the candles lit. So even though there's no minyan, I'm going to light the candle now in anticipation of them coming. Okay? Gets better. What if there were, what if there, no, there's nothing more exciting than halakha. Isn't it? Just for me personally, I don't see.
It shows that it's the spreading of the mitzvah, that they might not be able to do it at their home, because if that was the case, then you would wait for them to say the beracha.
Exactly. Excellent. Very important. It's because it's about the the publicizing of the miracle. Beautiful. Excellent. You guys with me? Okay, good. Now, what if there's not a minyan and there isn't going to be a minyan? There are 6 men and 4 kids. Let's call them 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, but not bar mitzvot. What, can you do it or not?
Yes.
Sure.
Of course. Of course. No, you ain't in your house. It's 4:00 in the afternoon in the synagogue. Okay?
Idea is publicized.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. We have 2, of course. Now everybody's a big
The
shot.
whole point is to teach the
I
children.
want to hear this one. I want to hear everybody. Of course. Yeah.
Ricky, is there a minimum of the amount of people that you need to
I want to
have?
have minyan, but very good. I want to have minyan, but I could have minyan with not only men. Now, what if it's 6 men
Or women.
and right up there in the ladies section, we got 4 ladies? What do you say?
Answer better be yes.
The answer is yes. The women could be mitzvot to the minyan in this case, because it's all about people, having the people together to teach and build the people. Great. That's great. Okay. So this is the extent of when we want to proclaim something, when we want to build something beautiful, that's the extent of it, right? Good. Good. Comfortable. Good. Okay, great. We'll touch on a few more things in this respect. Saturday night, right? Motzei Shabbat, we have the Havdalah, right? Now, we have another rule, which is tadir, tadir kodem, right? What we do consistently always comes before what we do inconsistently, right? Great. So that would mean in the shul, right? It's Saturday night. We'll have Havdalah first, and then the Menachah, right? What do? We do the opposite. We do 1 second. I'm breaking another rule. Good. Okay, so this Chacham over here doesn't have any questions about Moses. It's obvious. Okay, well, it took 500 years to figure it out. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, because some people may walk out, we're gonna remove a hard and fast rule of whatever is done consistently always comes before what's done intermittently. Huh? That's what you would say. So that's the other opinion. That's the other opinion. And we end up going by this opinion. Why? Because if 10 more people are going to be in the room, we want this thing to be out there. Now, what about when you get home? Which way do you do it when you get home? Right, you do the Havdalah first at home. Why? Because ain't nobody checking out. Nobody's checking out.
And
100%. 100%. Perfect. That's right. That's correct. That's correct. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, 100% you do it. We do the Hanukah on the.
If you put them in around the office, then the other people are gonna put a Christmas tree.
I don't know what they're gonna put.
That's a problem.
I don't know.
It's a problem.
Okay, look, I don't know, but in our offices, typically, I know in the city,
Every year.
when I used to be in the city a lot, we all lit during the thing. All right, let's do one more area. Now, so now we understand the great lengths we go to help another person, right? What if the Reuven had enough had enough oil to light, Behidur, with the extra lights every night, up to 8 candles on the last night. He has enough. And his friend Shimon doesn't have anything. So what is his obligation here? So what does he do? But if he gives to his friend,
You can't.
right, if he gives to his friend, he may only have enough for 1 candle. So what do we say? Well, wait a minute. Didn't you just tell me it's all about the Pirsumei Nisa? It's all about publicizing the miracle?
So now you have two.
Okay, now I have 2, but I have 2 lighting 1 candle each. But now we have, again, conflicting values. It's very exciting. Now, what do you want to do? On the one hand, Reuven can fulfill the mitzvah fully. And we just talked about how valuable and important that is. On the other hand, then Shimon would have nothing. So what do we do in that case?
1 each.
Split it. We split it. We split it. Good. Good. Makes sense, right? But what am I doing? Yeah, yes, exactly. Very good. So we see a little bit of a rub here, where even though I have a global obligation of Pirsumei Nisa, I have an individual obligation of the human being who's in pain right in front of me. Okay, I have that obligation. Good? Now, good. Now, on the other hand, what if the other person doesn't have, and I only have enough for 1 candle a night? Now what? Invite him over. The women always get it right. The women. It's the men who had to figure this out for 332 years. Very good. Very good. So what do we do? You can't forsake a mitzvah for somebody else. That far you can't go. And this is a very important thing in Judaism, and we have to be very careful with that we can't go too far. Our attempt to build another person can never compromise us. And this is very, very important. And the term in Hebrew is chayecha kodmim, that my life comes first. And this is very important because sometimes people are such ba'alei or ba'alot chesed that they lose themselves in an effort, right? They lose themselves, but our lives come first. The individual's life comes first. Good. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover on this. Okay, good. I think we did some good stuff. Now we have something, I want to tie something into Hanukah. It's based in the Mesilat Yesharim. I'm going to give you a 1-minute background. So many years ago, when I got back from Israel, I had a bunch of young adults, and we were in the annex next door to Sharet Zion at 6 o'clock in the morning learning Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just. And what did Ramchal, Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, who's one of the giants of mysticism, writes is that, you have to read this book over and over throughout your life. So I taught it then for a bunch of years. We were kids, all of us. I was 3-4 years older than the people in the room. And then we learned some of it once in our group. We learned some of it. And then, and that was that. And now I had a request to learn it again, to teach it again. So we're doing it. I'm doing it with a small men's group at 6:20 in the morning, 20 minutes a day. And I have to tell you, it's spectacular beyond words. It truly is spectacular. And the way to do it, I'm giving this introduction just to build this particular point, but the way to do it, choose to do it, is do it with the Hebrew and then English. Don't give up the Hebrew. Don't give up the Hebrew. Even if you're not using the Hebrew, do it and reference the Hebrew, because his Hebrew words that he chooses are spectacular and very, 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 very important. Very important. Okay. No, this is Ramchal. Interesting. Vivian reminded me of a point. What's so interesting is you would think that the Rambam and the Rambam wasn't a mystic. The Ramchal was. You would think they're in different ends of the Torah spectrum, but they're remarkably similar. Remarkable. No, it's remarkable when you see how they weave in and out of each other's thought processes. So he says a beautiful thing. He says many, many beautiful things. But one of the beautiful things he says, and I think it's very much reminded to us from Hanukah, he says a person should be osek batorah. What is the word esek? Anybody remember that word? Huh?
Busy?
Business. It's his business. One second. And we're talking to men and ladies here. We're not making distinctions. The Ramchal is saying that a person should make a career out of his Torah. Now, he says, in addition to his career, he says a person has a career. He's a farmer, he's a doctor, he's whatever he is. He has career X. The Ramchal doesn't say give up career X. It's fantastic. People do it. It's fantastic, right? But he doesn't say give up career X. He says have two careers. Now, you tell me the difference between being a doctor and learning Torah and having two careers. A doctor career, let's say, for our example, and a Torah career. What's the difference? Esek. I want you to own the term Esek. Esek means Torah, livelihood. It means career, livelihood. What is the difference?
Wasn't Maimonides a doctor?
Yep, it was. Yeah, so give me the other side of it, Diane. Good.
It's intertwined.
How is it intertwined? Go beyond that. Come on, good. Build with that.
Life gives life.
What is the difference between the person who considers Torah his occupation, even though he's a salesman during the day, let's say?
Oh, he owns it?
Oh, Sharon, what else? Come on, keep building it. What is the difference? Talk to me. And that's why, in this case, that's why I brought up the whole, He's in the real world. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Absolutely. Answer, absolutely great. But go further with this. Now, that's why I brought up. Exactly.
It's not, oh, by the way, we get up for that. No.
Okay, this is exactly the point. And this is the critical point. And we're going to learn a brief Mishnah in a minute that just talks about it. But here's the point. And it applies to the core areas of life. Huh?
I mean, you have to live Torah.
Good. So let's talk about what it means, Sarah. I want you to know what it means.
Strictly a man's business.
It's not a man's business. He's not talking about men. He's not talking about men.
No, I'm saying like you say the doctor and a Torah.
I didn't say a male doctor. I said a doctor.
I'm not saying male or female. I'm saying what you're engrossed in, how you build your, how you act, how you do, how you sell.
But it's not that way for everybody. And let's build on Michelle and your points. It's
Right,
not.
they're not mutually exclusive.
Okay, but here's the thing. When you ask a person, what do you do? I'm a pharmacist. I'm an eye doctor. I'm a whatever I am, right? That's what they do. That defines them. What the Ramchal is talking about is what defines you. It's to Rochelle's point. You know, a doctor doesn't say, oh, I go to the doctor, I go to a doctor office and I practice every so often. He says, I am a doctor. That's what he says. I'm a doctor, right? Pashut. I'm a butcher. I'm a whatever I am, right? I am X. I am X. That's different than saying, That's his identity. Exactly. That's different.
He owns it. He
He
owns it.
owns it. That's different than saying, to Rochelle's point, I do X. It's different than saying I do X. It's a different world. It's a different life. It could be the same person. It could be the same amount of time put in, but it's a different mentality. And that's why I prefaced by saying, when you read the Ramchal, Messiah Yesharim, God willing, any of his works, or
Wait, I don't understand. What should you say? Someone asks you what you do.
no, I'm not telling what you should say. Good, we'll get to that in a minute. Very good. What? Okay, let's see. Great, excellent, great, excellent. Let's see, beauty, let's see.
With the help of God.
Huh?
The help of Hashem.
Yeah, great, okay, I'm not, I don't want all your husbands to quit their jobs. I'm not, I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is like, to Rochelle's point, let's build on.
The help of Hashem.
1 minute, I'm building up to it. Okay, 1 second. Let's take an example. let's take an example. An example is, how are you? The example is, when somebody does something, they do it. It's something they do, right? It's outside of them. I do X. I do chesed, right? People do chesed. That's a beautiful thing, right? But what if a person moves himself or herself to a level where they don't do chesed? They're defined by chesed. Their ratzon, their will. Okay, great.
So wait, so you're actually living,
Beautiful. Huh?
you're actually living your potential. You're actually living your meaning. What you were made to do here.
Beautiful, Diane. This is what you were made to do. It's different than doing something. It's being in it. The same way the person is a doctor, he's immersed with his doctoring, right? It doesn't mean he spends more hours doing this, more hours doing that necessarily. It means I have two careers, but it's a career. Doctoring is not something you do. It's a career. You're consumed by it. That's what we're talking about here. It's a difference between doing it. I do chesed means I insert myself in chesed and I come home. I insert myself in Torah and I leave. That's beautiful, but we want to build more. And as we've talked about in the past, if I have the beracha v'kadosh baruch hu to say shehayanu like we did last night at the beginning of a holiday, meaning God, you gave me life. You gave me life to have this holiday again. That is not a given. It means I immerse in the holiday, I grow from the holiday, and I take all that I can from it. The key message from Hanukah is make Torah your career. Make it a career. Have 14 careers. Doesn't matter. But it's a different level. It's not a touch point in my life.
But
It's-
sometimes it's instilled from your family, from your parents, and sometimes you learn that.
Good. Beautiful, Shelley. Sometimes you learn it throughout life, right?
But a lot of people really do get it from their parents.
Right, okay. However you get it, it's fine. But yes, absolutely. What?
So a person that writes a check to charity,
Mhm.
and you have people that are not such great people, like maybe they are not honorable in business or not honorable with their families, they're not kind and respectful, but they write a charity check. So that's having your charity doing your chesed on a, whereas.
Okay, so charity is not chesed.
It's not-
Charity is not chesed. It's completely separate from chesed. Sharon's asking a point about charity. We can talk
Okay,
about.
so we could take it off, but even going and let's say you're working for an institution, you could come home and not be a Torah
Good.
person.
So we're not
you're
allowed
going
to do
your
that.
rights.
You're absolutely right. We're not allowed to compartmentalize. You're not allowed to do that.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, there, to your point, you want the person to be a whole person, your
Right.
whole being, to be a Torah being, as opposed to a person that goes and does a chesed,
Right.
but comes home and is dishonest in business.
Very
or,
good.
oh,
Or a
somebody-
person who checks into the class and checks out. That's a beautiful person because that person is doing much more than most. But we want more, right? We want more. And Hanukah reminds us that we can have much more.
But you said that person that's doing that, like what Sharon said, still gets credit.
Doing what?
That
charity events, they're bad.
Listen, the laws of charity are complicated, and I will tell you something. The first halakha in Maran Shulchan Aruch on charity, and we're talking about not chesed, we're talking about maaser, charity, a tithe, right? That's what we're talking about, two completely different things, right? Maran Shulchan Aruch says, if you didn't make the person feel good, maybe you didn't fulfill the mitzvah. How's that? Well, what do you mean? The guy wrote a check for a huge amount of money and he made the guy feel degraded. He didn't fulfill the mitzvah? Maybe not. Maybe not. Because even Ma'aseh, there's an interpersonal level and obligation related to it that has to be fulfilled.
But you don't know where that goes, the master.
Huh?
You don't know where it goes.
No, where it goes is something else. I'm talking about the person sitting in front of me. How do I engage the person sitting in front of me when I gave him the check? How do I engage him? Was I annoyed? Was I belittling?
I understand, but when you're giving people, I said, they don't know where it's going.
Wherever it goes after that, I don't know. I assume that it's going to a good place. I checked the place out. I'm talking about what happens in that moment. That has thing. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if this, I don't, like, I'm off the subject, like, I'm on more of the wavelength that I'm living my purpose, what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's effortless. It becomes effortless when I'm Torah, when I'm, combining my life with
No,
Torah.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's effortless because it's who I am. It's my zone. I'm in the zone all the time.
In the zone when you connect.
Yeah, I'm connecting all the time. The same way, you people shouldn't be doing chesed. Just be generous of spirit. That means everything you do is chesed, right? Be nadiv ratzon. We've talked about this before. Everything you do is generous. That's what we want. Be in the Torah zone. Be in the zone, and it's a very big difference. And I'm going to give you a few examples. I want to strongly recommend never sit in a class quiet ever, and you'll never sit in my class quiet. No, you'll never sit in my class quiet because you're not in. Yeah. What, William? Probably not. Huh?
That's for sure.
That's for sure. Great, thank God. You'll never sit in the class quiet. Why? Because you're building. You're in it. Your partner's in the process of building, right? That's part of the way to be careerized in Torah, to be in it. Don't be passive. Don't ever be passive with your Torah. Be on it, be learning, be challenging, be thinking, and make sure you're doing that. Okay? It's a different level of awareness, different level of absorption of the ideas. I want it in me. In order for it to be in me, I got to be in it. I got to be arguing the logic. I got to be struggling with things. Yeah.
You almost forget that you're in class, like.
Beauty. That's it. That's what it is. Beautiful, Diane. Beautiful.
Oh.
I have in the men's class, I'm killing them. I'm killing these guys, right? I'm forcing the men to teach. And you know what? It's fantastic. One after the other, they're stepping up and they're stepping up. So one guy, I got him, I told him it'd only be 3 classes. He's up to class number 10 now, but I'm just getting him warmed up. No, because he has the yeda. Now he's learning on another level. And then I sit with him and we structure the class together, right? We structure the class together. I'm going to call him Joe. Joe, smile over here, honey. It'd be a good idea to smile in the class once in a while. Ad kadei kach, that's the thing. Beauty. He said, oh, the last class was great, which it was. I'm just giving an example. He said, but they weren't asking enough questions. Good. Pause, write in your notes every time you want to prompt them for a question. Ad kadei kach, to that level. But that's what we're talking about. That's what your Torah should be, all of you. All right? Okay, let's wrap up. Rochelle, thank you. Chag Sameach. See you next week. Okay, there's a beautiful Mishnah in the 5th perek of Pirkei Avot, where a gentleman by the name of Ben Bagbag. It's a made-up name, obviously, because nobody would call their son, or the father would never be called Bagbag. So they say that Bagbag and Haha were 2 gerim, 2 converts, and they quote them. And there's all types of midrashim. Why did the community affix them these names or whatever? But for now, let's know that they're converts. Okay. What does Ben Bagbag say? He says, Hafochba vehafochba tekulaba. He says, work it, turn it inside out, challenge it, build it, because everything is in it. So he's saying what we're saying. Be inside of the Torah. Push it. Don't accept just answers. Work them. Challenge them. Hafochba vehafochba, work it, turn it upside down, turn it on its side, challenge it again, tekulaba, because everything is inside of it. And then he says, take it with you throughout life. Don't ever let it grow away from you, ever. No matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what stage of life you are. He uses the term, "Besiv uklebe." He says, take it with you, this approach of an immersion in Torah, making a career of Torah, take it with you until your last moment on earth. And then he says that don't move from it, and it refines a person. She'en lecha midah tova himena. There is no better value. There is no better quality of life than living this quality of life, because we get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through our minds. It's all about the mind, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it. And that's your Hanukah story. This is Pirkei Avot, the 5th chapter, the 22nd Mishnah. So I thought it was just a nice, straightforward piece. He says, Hafochba ve'afochba. He's talking to everybody. Work it, challenge it, rework it, go at it again, push it, make your notes on it, ask the questions on it. That's how you build your life. And a teacher has,
These were converts?
they were converts, yeah, it's nice,
No, but
beautiful,
it's nice to know that you don't have to feel guilty for having thoughts and working them through.
fantastic, Sarah. Say that again.
Very nice.
You don't have to, you never feel uncomfortable with you, ever feel uncomfortable with questions or challenges, ever. You see some of the things written in these Sefarim, you're like, oh my God, somebody, how could they ask that question? Of course they asked the question. There was a basis to it. There was
Now I got it. What'd you do?
Huh?
Couldn't get it. Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi.
If we take this approach, don't ever be passive. Don't ever be listeners, ever. Don't ever be listeners. Be challengers, be builders. By the way, your attention level goes to an all kind of different place. And every time we learn something, what do we say every morning in the beracha before we say Kriyat Shema? The berachot of Kriyat Shema, we say the lemod, the lamed, the shmor, the asod, ulkayem. When we learn something, we want to be learning it to teach it. So we want to learn it to own it, to do it, the asot ulkayem, right? To do it, to know what the deen is, to do it, to continually do it, and to be able to give it over to others. So that's our approach. And you do that by the way we did it today, particularly in the way we did it in general, by learning and growing with it. Good.
Great class. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Great to see you, Zoom people. Thank you, dear friend. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Bye.